Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, hello, how's it going? Hi, it's the HalfGen Podcast. We're back. Ross is
Hello.
back. Clap it up for
Hi.
Ross. Successful jaw surgery.
Hey. Hey, we back.
He's a
We
new
back.
man.
It's actually a month from the surgery tomorrow, actually. So
Hello,
it'll have been 4 weeks.
hello, Russell, in the chat. Just a reminder, guys, you can catch these. We probably should tweet when I'm going to make a better habit to tweet when we are going to be recording this stuff. If you want to come and watch live, twitch.tv/nightmarecv. That's my Twitch. Maybe if this, maybe someday we'll do like a YouTube. You know what I thought about doing? What we could do?
Mm.
We could stream this on YouTube
Yeah.
and then just upload it.
It's probably the smartest thing that we should have started years ago.
And then I'd have to download it. I'd probably still have to do a local record, but like I could just record all that stuff and then put that for the Spotify video stuff that I upload.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about just doing that.
Seems like
And
less
then-
work.
Yeah, maybe we'll try that next month.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're also making it easier because YouTube now has like they're giving everybody like, so you know how our link is a jumble of bullshit? Yeah. So they're gonna eventually our link should just be youtube.com/official halfgen or halfgen or whatever it is. I don't actually remember. But they're making it so like right now I have my /nightmarecv on YouTube, which is cool. So they're just giving that to everybody, and then everybody's just gonna have like a set profile name that like that's your profile, that directs to you. So that's cool, and I think that'll be useful. And then that'll also make it that everyone, nobody else can come in and swoop in and take it.
True.
But yeah, so maybe we'll try that for next month, and then see how we can logistically make that work. Because I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the intro in there, because it's my jam. I could do that because then I could just set up a transition, play the intro, then transition to us. It's perfect. I can do it. I've got it. I've already got it. Beautiful mind. Ross, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right, man. It's it's been a weird month. But we're back here. It's November now, which is crazy. Coming up on end of the year stuff. So yeah, been playing some games, but yeah, it's mostly been just kind of a lot of recovery from the surgery. So
fair enough. Not that Ross usually needs a reason, because I can do enough talking for the both of us. But you take all the time you need, my friend, to recover, and I'll put that weight on my shoulders. Put the team on my back, like Greg Jennings.
Yep.
Oh man. You know what I realized the other day, and it's really disappointing, and I need to talk to you because ideally Ross will be here November 12th. And other than hanging out and going out, it's going to be my birthday on the 11th. Not to brag, but no.
It's going to be the big 21. I'm going to go out drinking.
I'm going to be 33. And it's okay. I look at like this, and if I shaved, I'd look 24. But as I was saying, ideally Ross will be here, and we're gonna be having fun and doing stuff. And I would like to do some content stuff while you're here. But I have good news and bad news.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay. So the bad news is, when I changed PCs, I forgot that our Maddening save was on that PC.
Nice.
So that franchise is gone.
Hey.
Because I actually went to go edit the other videos together, and then I was like, wait a minute. We can't. The good news, though, is now we can consider that the beta test. We go back in, we hit it hard, and let's just bang this shit out. We know what to do now. We break it into 4-week blocks. We make our initial trades. We can keep the same teams. You know, I think that would be, or do you want to just re-roll and just call that a complete wash?
It's a beta.
Okay,
Complete
it's a
wash.
beta. It's
Progress
a
doesn't
beta.
carry over to the 1.0
So
release.
what we'll do is when we restart the maddening, I'm also thinking, I don't know if I'm going to use, I might use the same cover because I still have it. I'll probably just use that one, unless we want
Yeah,
to try and do a better one. But
I feel like it's janky to a point where it's the most endearing thing I've ever seen. So we're probably just gonna keep it.
I think it'll be cool too, like seeing it get like increasingly better as the series goes on, as like we put more and more effort into it. I think that could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
neat. It's like over time, it's like, wow, this maddening thing really turned into something.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking we could do that and like hopefully like do in 2 hours what we did in like 4 last time. And
Yeah,
then ideally get
I
a
think so.
bunch of this shit done. Like I'm thinking we could probably do 2 or 3 seasons in an episode. You know, if we can get 2 seasons done in 20 minutes, that's an episode. And then what? We said we were going to do 10 seasons?
Yeah,
Dude, like that's the winning strategy. We get it done in 5 episodes.
yeah.
We might have time to do Maddening 2001. Wait. Yeah, 2000 is what we started on, right?
I believe so.
I have to
Yeah.
re-download those emulators and stuff. What? That's crazy. What?
I have physical versions of every Madden since 2000. I'll just bring it and hold it up for the camera.
Yeah, just hold it up for the camera. We need to Photoshop our cover on that. We need to print that out and put that in the Madden case.
So many plans.
But yeah, ideally we'll get some stuff done for that, and then maybe we'll figure out a cadence. I know with the youngin coming, scheduling anything's gonna be tough. But
Yeah.
I still think it would be cool if we had like one night a week where we could just get on, you know, we overlay it and we put ourselves on there, and like one of us just plays and like we just kind of go through commentary over a game, you know? Just play a game, commentary over it. You know, if we do like a Final Fantasy or something, I'll do the grinding offline if we need it. But like the good thing is in like a Final Fantasy 8 or something, you don't need to grind. I know that was one we were talking about.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Yeah,
grind
yeah.
in Final Fantasy 8.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
or I've just been thinking we could just fucking finish Lost Odyssey. And by
I don't wanna
finish,
give
I
you
mean
any
we'd
of
have to
that
start
satisfaction.
over. I really want to play it. I've had the itch, man.
Yeah.
I've kind of been on that
it's
JRPG
on the list.
kick.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure that out. See if that's something we can swing. You know, just to do that for like, even if it's like in 2 hours a week, you know, and then just upload that VOD, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just depends because do the podcast one night and then separating
Well, the
out the
podcast
gameplay into another night.
is only one night a month.
That's true. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My mind's still
See?
on weekly.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, yeah.
I know.
So yeah, that could work.
We could potentially
We could
swing that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
We'll figure that out. I'm just trying to think of stuff, but also like I'm not trying to do it for like the sake of content, but I'm also thinking like we've been meaning to do this, and why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone? You know?
Yeah. Agreed.
Especially since the site is back. I think this is the first episode that like we actually have the website live again. HalfGen.com is a place. Let me see, hold on, can I let me see if I can make this movie magic happen.
Yeah, after
Doing it live.
years gone, we are back because we wanted to write stuff again. And so we remade the site and
Why is it
have
taking so
started
long
to
load? Oh my god.
That's very bright.
Yeah, it is. You're not kidding, pal.
Dark theme all day.
Our site doesn't have a dark theme.
I know.
Look, there it is. Hey.
Rebranding.
Look at that.
New logo.
That's halfgen.com. I had a timely review go up. I had this review up at launch.
It's the first time, maybe ever,
in the history of our site. I had
of all sites.
I had it listed. Well, no, those gaming nerds. We had a couple pre-release games. I had Danganronpa. I had that review done for launch because they gave it to me like 2 weeks early, and I couldn't stop playing it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, we got HalfGen.com is back. You can check out, my Vampire Survivors review, where I call it deceptively deep and endlessly enjoyable. The best $5 you've ever spent on a game. What?
I want to know more.
You know what? Every word of that sentence is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about a throwback review? Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, almost 20 years, has barely aged this prince, as the first entry to this trilogy still stands strong. Read more. What's cool that we were actually able to do with this one is we did get the new logo, for the rebrand. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that for the podcast. But we got the new logo, and they sent me all the data on the coloring, like how they like the codes to make these
like the
colors.
values.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so all of the stuff on the site, like this green is this green and this yellow is this yellow. So everything is color
nice.
coordinated in a way it never was before. And that's really nice. But yeah, I mean, we're back to full form reviews, and by back to, I mean, like, we are doing full form reviews. Ross and I haven't done this in years. So this has been kind of exciting. I'm still trying to I had a problem with my Call of Duty screenshots where they just would not upload. It was a weird thing. They just would not upload.
Weird.
Yeah, I got this one to go, and I got this one to go, and then I think it's a size thing, and it's really weird, and I couldn't fix it. But this one, and I got this one to go. I took a screenshot of the main menu or something to get this background image here.
I'm not sure if you have it if you're looking at a different tab. But you keep saying this one or this one.
Hold on. I know what's happening. It's because I have it set to capture a tab and not a window.
Yep. I was like, this one and this one.
Sorry, hold on.
How dare you? Oh, and there will be another throwback review going up very soon that was supposed to go up today, but a game I've been playing has kept me from actually being productive and actually uploading that review. As a teaser, is a throwback review for the original Fable. So be on the lookout for that probably later this week.
Hold on, I have to do this in a different way. This is really
Google Chris thinks the Fable review is lame, so
no, I'm sorry. It's amazing. I can't wait for everyone to see it. I'm sorry. This is what I was talking about. So these screenshots. So, dude, Meat is weird. It won't capture a whole. They're to avoid an infinity mirror, they won't capture a whole window, so they'll only capture a tab. Doesn't make sense. Wait. This is really intuitive. I lied. It's integrated right into Chrome, and there's a button that just says share this tab instead.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually really intuitive. Son of a bitch. I'm sitting here this is dumb. And then they're like, nah, we already figured it out.
They're like,
wait,
no,
does this work now? Wait, does this work? This didn't work before.
It didn't?
These were unclickable before. Oh my God, it fixed it. I don't know. I didn't fix it. I couldn't get it to go. The Vampire Survivors review didn't work with that. Anyway, I got this screenshot to upload, and I got this screenshot to upload. And then this one I took and I made it a JPEG, so it's a little lower quality, but it worked. These were PNGs, but these were also weird because I took these. I discovered a cool thing because I was playing Call of Duty in HDR, and when you use Steam to take a screenshot of HDR content, it's awful. So never do that. But when you use the game bar to capture a screenshot, it takes a non-HDR version and an HDR version. I also learned that our website cannot understand an HDR screenshot, and so I could not upload those. I wanted to do a comparison shot because the HDR I think is very good. But yeah, we got full scale reviews. We brought back the final say in a nice little way.
A little cheeky nod.
We got the number. We put the number on here because we were both like, you know what?
We like numbers.
Forget it. We tried to be, like the people who were like, we don't do numbers. We don't do scored reviews. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's just easy to just say it's a 7. We got the good and the bad down here. You can share it on Pinterest. Share it on WhatsApp or via
Large
email.
demographic of your
Yeah, you know,
audience are on Pinterest.
I would love to have just a large demographic of an audience. But
We
yeah.
only
Oh,
accept a
look at that.
select
The
few.
recent posts are filling out. I wonder, actually. I want to see if the Vampire Survivors thing is fixed. This works now. No, see, look, these
Appreciate
aren't
all of
clickable
you.
here.
Appreciate all of you audio listeners bearing
Oh,
with us
shit.
while we go over site stuff.
I wasn't even thinking about that. But no, look, see, this isn't clickable.
That's weird. I
On
thought it
this
worked on my
one,
Prince of Persia review, but maybe I was delusional. You should check the Prince of Persia review.
I'm
See
checking it
if
right
it's
now.
clickable.
They
No?
are.
Yes? Yeah.
I
So it's
don't
just the Vampire
understand.
Survivors one.
But yeah, so we got everything broken down. Right now, the categories are a little slim picking. Just so you guys know, the podcast stuff. I'm probably not gonna make a post for every podcast. I don't think I have anything in here yet. No, I'll probably just have like a post that has links to like the iTunes feed, the Google Podcasts feed, stuff like that, and then you can just find our most recent episode by just clicking on that.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that page is probably reserved for what you just said, and maybe us putting maybe some of our favorite episodes there as like highlights potentially.
yeah. Video, like I don't want the website to be the place where you listen to the podcast.
No, no.
So like it's not gonna be something. Um, oh, I didn't realize it actually carried that text over. That's stupid. I usually I fill that stuff out just to be like dumb, and I just put stuff like this is where this lives, and then
Yep. And then it
there
shows
it
up.
is. But
Well,
yeah, so videos will be where we post like new videos and stuff like that. We'll probably just embed the videos there just because that's easy. One-offs
yeah.
and editorials are going to be like our one-offs and editorials, crazy. Like the welcome back to HalfGen, where you can read that because I have an insatiable desire to post things and be like, hi, welcome back, and I try and talk to people via editorial.
It's true. You're an editorial boy.
I have a problem. You can read this article about how Microsoft should be able to buy Activision, but I have some concerns.
It's true.
And then we have our reviews sorted in current reviews and throwback reviews, which is not an ideal format for those because eventually current reviews will be throwback reviews. Throwback reviews are just going to be like older stuff because and everybody likes to be like, oh, retro. It doesn't have to be retro to be a throwback.
Yeah, it's what I consider throwback is kind of, I don't know. I would say 6th generation and back. It's starting to edge up to the 7th generation, but yeah, it's most of the stuff that will be posted there is going to be like PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and maybe earlier.
Yeah.
But we're getting to the point where 360 and PS3 are starting to become throwbacks. So
That's why they're
it's fluid.
Throwbacks and not retro. Current reviews, I want to
Yeah.
come up for something better than that, but like that's just the best thing I had right now. But yeah, HalfGen's back. HalfGen.com. We've even got the HTTPS. We've got the
Very
secured.
official.
The website
We're
is
incredibly
much
secure.
stronger than it was before. More secure than ever,
Like a sand.
You got all these links you can click to see like this Twitch channel or YouTube, stuff like that. Fun and exciting things going on in the world of HalfGen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make
Yes.
sure. My mic is freaking out. So.
Oh shit. Okay. But yeah, so the website's back. Hope you guys will check it out. Hope you guys will like what you see while you're there. I mean, you want to get into anything right now? Do you have anything you want to start with, or do you want me to just start? I got stuff I can show and tell. I can talk about a bunch of games I've been playing.
Oh, hit up with show and tell.
Show and tell. All right, let me grab it.
Yeah. Again, great for audio listeners.
No, it's okay because they can look this up.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
It's the Bayonetta 3 Trinity Masquerade Edition. So Bayonetta 3 came out. I will give you my very early impressions. I booted it up today earlier, did like the opening segment and said neat, and then put it away because I had something else to do. The game starts off crazy.
A Bayonetta game? Crazy?
Yeah,
Nah.
but like it's kind of like off the rails. Like some shit happens, and I'm like, what the what? So yeah, it comes in this lovely box with the 3, and everything. You know what I found out? It came out recently. Apparently, like when they revealed this game, they just got it like approved by Nintendo. So they were already doing the remasters, and then by that point, Scalebound had been canceled, and so they were like, "I really want to make Bayonetta 3." They were like, "We really want to do this," and then Nintendo was like, "Okay." And then it happened to coincide with the reveal. That's why the game apparently took so long, is because it wasn't in development yet. They had the logo, and that was it.
Okay.
So yeah, I like this a lot. I'm a little upset that I had to. So I'm a little upset that I had to open this to get at it. They have boxes with like alternate art for all 3 games. So my cartridge came in the Bayonetta 3 one, which again, that's why I'm a little upset I had to open it, because they're shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
So like, you have that. So I don't know if they have they've got the, there's Bayonetta 2. So like that stuff. I don't know if they have like the original art tucked underneath, but like Bayonetta 3 originally came with this art, the normal box art, but it had the flippable, and so I flipped it to match the others.
Yeah. I love alternate box art on the backside. What I will say is, developers, please, if you have alternate box art on the backside of your insert, please keep the name on the spine so I can put it on my shelf and I know what it is. There's a couple that I have where it's just one continuous art piece on the alternate side and there's no name on the spine, and I find it incredibly irritating.
But Ross,
so
you know what they did?
What did they do? What is happening?
They made it a display stand for them.
Wow.
They went all out, my guy. And they made it into a display stand. So you can proudly display
that's a nice touch.
Your box arts. It's just built in.
The shape of that box. Yeah, that's cool.
To the back there.
The shape of that box reminds me of the battle chests for StarCraft 2, which my dad, when he moved up here, apparently we still had those, so he brought the first 2 battle chests for Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm, which I now have.
Your dad is an intelligent human being. Okay,
also,
so cool.
the Halo 3 helmet too.
Of course, yeah.
Nice.
So that comes out, and then this goes in. And that's how that does it.
That's a nice art piece.
Yeah, that's a nice little thing, Yeah. I dig that.
Yeah.
I will display this somewhere. And it also did come with the art of Bayonetta 3.
Nice.
So a very like meaty little art book. You got the nice little gun. Can I give very, 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 very early spoilers for Bayonetta 3? Like literally, this is the first thing you do when you start the game.
Okay.
So the theories about it being a different Bayonetta appear to be entirely correct, because Bayonetta fucking dies.
Oh.
Like, she gets killed. Like, it's Bayonetta 1 Bayonetta.
Yeah.
And she gets, like, wrecked by this dude, and they send Viola, which is the new lady, to another. They say, like, this is the last, like, world crystal we have. And so they're going to different worlds to find different Bayonettas to fight this threat. And so she left, and then this thing, like, breaks the crystal. But he, like, straight up kills Bayonetta.
Huh.
So, like...
It's symbolic with the voice actress.
Yeah, it's crazy. Not phenomenal. This is going to be great when I have to edit this later. It's and that's why I was like, wow, okay, we're really going hard on this, huh? Because they just... And now it makes sense why they offered, like, the cameo role and stuff like that, because it's like, well, of course you would do that, because you could have her be a Bayonetta, and then, like, you know, you could have like an Into the Spider or like an Into the Spider-Verse moment of just like, it's all these Bayonettas and that's the original. And then too bad she's supporting anti-abortion charities. Ha ha. Funny meme.
Sad.
Meme lady. But
Yep.
yeah, very nice collector's edition. I want to put more time into Bayonetta 3. I just have not had a chance. I have been, you know, busy with work and stuff, and the fact that I haven't had a good night's sleep in probably 2-ish weeks. So it's been a real struggle.
It's just can't sleep?
Very tired, unable to fall asleep.
Huh. Have you thought about sleeping medicine?
I think about it all the time. All the time I think about it. I do have some now, but historically it has not done anything for me. Yeah,
gotcha.
so now the last little bit of show and tell. You remember the other day I was asking you about a 360 controller. I ended up buying this like knockoff one on Amazon for like $12, and I haven't used a 360 controller in some time, but boy, does this feel like a 360 controller. The reason I was asking is because I was on eBay the other day. Because we were talking about things, and I was like, you know what? DJ Hero was a great game.
Yeah.
And we were talking about DJ Hero, and I was like thinking this. I was like, man, I wonder how much a DJ Hero turntable would be. So $80 later, I got the DJ Hero 2 edition that came with 2 turntables. Apparently, it was opened and used once. So I made a best offer, and with shipping, it was like $80 or something. But it comes with the 2 turntables, comes with DJ Hero 2, comes with everything I need, the microphone. And then I, purchased DJ Hero 1 because, as you do, wrapped, mind you. So I get to crack that open. And I get to play my favorite song in all of DJ Hero, which is Shout and Eric Pride, Tears for Fears and Eric Pride, A Shout and Piano. Which is my favorite song in the whole game. And I watched it on Expert on YouTube, and I was like, either this is easier than I remember, or I would be really good at DJ Hero right now. And we're going to find out.
Yep, I was going to say that would be fun to record while I'm there.
The other thing I did that was actually like really neat, that I found on Amazon, 360 might be one of the easiest consoles, one of the easiest old consoles to get into. Not even necessarily because not even that it's because it's not that old in retrospect, but just because of like all the evolutions. There's just a lot of accessories, and a lot of third parties made a lot of cheap accessories for the Xbox 360, such as this 2 for $11 hard drive enclosure, which is currently featuring my original 20 gig Xbox 360 hard drive.
Wow. 20 gig.
That's got all the OG stuff, so I couldn't quite get rid of it. But because I have the Slim, because this was Xbox number 5, it just installs right down here, and you just pull it out. And in this one, I have an old Samsung SSD, like very, very old. But I was like, you know what? I don't really care if this thing dies. I just want to play DJ Hero. So there's like a 240 gig SSD in this one, and that's what's in the Xbox right now. And so at some point, and then I bought, because I wasn't sure if I knew, but yeah, it just lines up. It just fits.
Huh. Yeah, I never had the Slim.
Yeah. And that's the Slim is probably the one I would recommend people get. That is just laughably easy, frankly. And for $11, you get 2 of these things. I literally just found I had an SSD in my drawer, and I was like, I'll just use this. It's just sitting there. There's this old drive. I think like Overwatch is installed on it. This thing lasted like 3 PCs. I didn't carry it over to the new one, so I was like, whatever. I'm gonna format it for this Xbox. I'm just gonna install DJ Hero and play that. And I bought it on 360 because I like at the time I didn't know where my PS3 was, but also like I was like, whatever. I know where my 360 is. Then I found my PS3. And then also in my moment of like, I moved all my wires. I don't know if I know where my 360 power cable is. I found that too after ordering a new one.
Yep, that completely tracks.
But just knowing that like DJ Hero probably runs a little better on the 360, because that was kind of the platform of that generation, I was like, you know what? I just don't want to deal. Also, capturing on a 360 is going to be way easier because I can't capture a PS3. I can, but it's complicated. I don't want to do it. I'm just going to capture this 360 and I'm going to stream DJ Hero because that's the life I want to live.
Yeah, why not?
Why not, indeed? So look forward to DJ Hero. And I've never played 2. I bought 2 and never played it. So I never got around to it because I lost my dongle and then I found my dongle and then I lost my dongle. And a series of dongles later, I just never got around to it.
You about to dongles for the title? Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
A series of unfortunate dongles. No, I'm kidding.
We don't need any more titles.
No,
that's locked in at this point.
I think that's everything I have for show and tell. There's the disaster on Prime Day where I accidentally bought a model kit I already had and didn't realize it. So now I have 2 real grade Gundam Exias. It was a good price.
Yeah, apparently they're discontinuing the Amazon Basics line of products.
Really?
I heard.
Well, I know Amazon.
So all of them are like super discounted. If you're looking for anything like power strips or anything, they're probably super cheap.
See, I like Amazon Basics stuff for the most part, but I know the issue around it is that like they just go to vendors a lot of the same, like they go to like, hey, you make the top selling product in this category, make it for us, but make it for less money.
Yeah, it's like the Amazon Basics safe. The battery died in it, so we couldn't get into our safe. So I watched a 2-minute YouTube video on how to break into an Amazon Basics safe, and it was far too easy.
Was it the lockpicking lawyer?
It was the lockpicking
lawyer. I
lawyer.
Love the lockpicking lawyer.
My wife on her powerlifting team.
Did he do it with the Red Bull can?
I can't remember. But a member on my wife's powerlifting team also is like loves lockpicking. Went to the international like lockpicking convention in like Switzerland a few years ago, just for the sport of picking locks. So he was like, "Here's this exact video on the time code. I know what you need." And I was like, "Perfect, thanks."
I have strongly considered purchasing his Covert companion and then trying to pick the lock into where I live from my garage just to know I could do it. Like just pick that lock.
A series of dongles, a Covert companion. There we go.
That's the thing he sells. It's got all the stuff in it, and like you can read. But yeah, I watch every time a video comes up. He's just like, "I'm the lockpicking lawyer," and today it's the same. It's just formulaic, but it's so nice. It's like 2 or 3 minutes out of my life, and I'm like, even though that was fast and a little boring, I had a good time watching this. Just listening to him be like, okay, as you can tell, nobody should buy this. Like he does not hold back. They'll send him locks and they'll just be like, I'm going to show you why Master Lock still sucks ass. Okay. Master Lock sent me this lock and they should be embarrassed.
Oh man.
Oh. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's everything for show and tell. Yes.
Gotcha. Well, before we get into games, I guess I'll briefly go into why I've been gone in a little more depth.
You should have done that before you let me go off on my tangent.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, on October 3rd, I had corrective jaw surgery for a lot of jaw pain that I had been having. So the problem was that my top jaw was basically like angled down. So when it would come down, half of my teeth would be wearing down and the other ones wouldn't. So it was causing some dental issues. So what they did is they made a 5-inch incision, everything inside the mouth up. They cut the base of the nose and they cut through both sinuses. And they basically detached the jaw, made it parallel, and brought it forward 5 millimeters, because also my front teeth used to just hit each other instead of the front teeth sitting over the bottom teeth in the front like they're supposed to.
I always
Um,
wondered about that. I always wondered, like, I'm like, is my
yeah,
mouth set up wrong? Because like that's always how it went. I was like, are they supposed to like meet or? But now I know. Thank you.
yeah, they're not supposed to
My
meet.
mind is at ease now. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, that was I mean, honestly, the surgery was not the worst part of this whole thing. It's been the diet that's been the worst part. So for the first 2 weeks after the surgery, it was an all liquid diet, and now I'm on a soft food diet, but I still can't chew. So I just have to like move things around in my mouth until I can swallow them. And that's through January. So
Oh,
in in the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, I've gone from 225 to 208. Um,
wow.
so if you want to lose weight, jaw surgery is a pretty great way to do it. So what's crazy is that in high school I was 180 and the same height when we first met.
Yeah, you were a skinny guy back then.
Yeah, yeah, it was me and
You were
Zane
never you were never a
pre-army.
big guy, for the record. You
No,
carried
I'm just I'm
yourself
just
well.
just tall,
Yeah.
and especially back in high school, I wore baggy clothes, so I looked even skinnier. Um,
I still
so,
remember that
but
profile picture you had of that Halloween costume, where my
yep,
girlfriend at the time thought you were a creep, and then she turned out to be the creep.
yep,
It's a good thing I
yep.
picked my battles properly. She was like, "This
Yeah,
guy's
you
weird." I was like, "He's great."
it's really telling that on that picture, I'll never forget it. On Facebook, there's a comment from someone I went to school with from when I was like 4 to graduation. She's like, "You know, Ross, y I like you a lot, and I've known you for a really long time, but there's something weird about how you're 15 years old in this, and you look older than my dad." And I was like, "You're not wrong, but, um, yeah." So I am lean, mean, and hungry. But
Hangry.
um hangry. So yeah, I mean, everything is mostly healed at this point. Now the next 3 months are, so I have like metal brackets on a bunch of my teeth because instead of traditional braces, I've been doing Invisalign. So I have the brackets just on a few of my teeth, and I have to wear like rubber bands to, like, surgery gets you 95% of the way there, and then it's like fine tuning.
I remember when I
So
had braces, I got to a point, it was so bad. I hate the rubber bands. I don't know if you also
yeah.
experience the excruciating pain that is those rubber bands.
Yep.
But like my mom used to always be make sure to put your rubber bands and put your rubber, and I got to a point where I was like, "Mom, I'm not wearing these rubber bands tonight." And she's like, "You have to." I was like, "Mom, this will cause me so much pain, unimaginable pain." I said, "I'm not wearing them tonight. I'm not wearing them tomorrow. I might not wear them the next day. After that, I will wear them, but I am not doing it." And she saw how serious I was. She was like, "Okay." I hated those goddamn rubber bands.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, that's where I've been.
It's
That's why episode is late. Um,
not late.
but
It's always on time.
we're here now. We're here now. Um, so yeah, and we're back, and we have the website going. Been writing again, which has been fun. Uh, and yeah, that's kind of the real life stuff that's been happening. And we're getting ready for the baby. So there used to be a queen bed back here. The crib will probably be built this weekend. We got this electric glider, which is pretty comfy. But what, Chris is laughing about something. What are
Go
you
to
laughing
Russell memes. I'm sorry.
in the middle of the show,
I'm sorry.
Chris? In the
Yes.
middle of the
Yes.
show. This is this is why we're so
It's
unprofessional.
amazing.
I'm
It's
sure it
so
is.
perfect.
It's taking time to load. Return of the King. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Both of them. Yep. It's pretty good.
I like yours the best. I might use that as the image for this episode.
Great. Great.
It's too good. I gotta put that in somewhere. I might just like Photoshop that over. Well, not Photoshop, but just insert it over you, like in the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Put that in the bottom corner somewhere, and it'll just be there the rest of the show. um, yeah, no, sorry. Video games.
Yep.
Actually,
Video
before that,
games.
I want to talk to you real quick.
Before video games.
Before video
Okay.
games,
Sure.
did you see the price announcement of the PSVR
PSVR
2?
2. Yes, I did. Yeah.
What are
It costs
your
more than
thoughts?
one of the
Yep,
SKUs of the console itself.
yep.
It's too damn high.
That's what I thought.
Uh, it's for those who didn't see, they announced the price as $550.
That's too much.
For a reminder, the digital edition of the PlayStation 5 is $499.
No, $399.
No. Yep.
But
the
remember,
disc
in
version.
some regions, the PlayStation 5 is $549
Sure.
for
yeah.
the disc version.
Yeah, I saw that price and I was kind of like,
Now,
Sony, come on.
some people have justified it because they're pointing, because a lot of people are pointing at like Oculus, like the Quest 2 or Meta.
It's still the Quest, just not the Oculus.
I know,
Quest.
but
It's the Meta
Oculus
Quest.
was such a better name.
It was. So it's still the Quest 2.
So they were comparing it to the Quest 2. They're like, oh, but the Quest 2 is blah, 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 and it doesn't require that. And it's like, yeah, but like PlayStation's headset is more competing with like the Index than it is.
Yep.
It's more in the high-end VR market than it is in the like, entry level, which is where like the Quest firmly sits, entry to mid, let's say. I think it's going to be a hard sell for Sony because at the time when they released the first PSVR, yes, it was a similar, because I think it was $249 when it came out, and the PS4 was still $399. And then no, I'm sorry, it was $299, and then you could get the Pro for $399. Because I remember I bought them around the same time. It was close, but it was, combined at most for the best experience. You're spending $399 and $249. So it was a much more reasonable. And then when you look at the cost of VR at that time, and the support and the fact that the PlayStation was so like out there, everybody had a PlayStation, it made sense. PlayStation 5, is keeping pace well enough with the PS4, but I'm not as confident in its longevity. This whole like Gotham Knights fiasco just has me sitting here like shaking my head, just being like, how? And I for the record, I put that firmly on them. They could have just said it sooner. They could have but like the whole point was they dropped the previous gen consoles, and then like it apparently doesn't even run well on the new ones, and it doesn't even run well. It doesn't even run well on PC, apparently. I'll check it out on a sale someday, but like I'm not getting involved in that right now. I've got enough of a backlog as it is. Anyway, I feel like $549 in this current competitive market is a tough ask for VR that is attached to a console.
Both literally and figuratively.
If that headset were compatible with PC, easy sell. If Sony said, oh yeah, by the way, you can plug it into a USB-C on your computer and it'll work, and then I would just be like, say less. That would be an instant buy for me if it was compatible with PC and PlayStation 5. At $549, you're looking at a total investment of at least $950.
You cannot, in my mind at least, you cannot have a peripheral cost more than the system it's dependent on.
It's bad business.
Work.
And
it's terrible.
I feel like that's been Sony's MO for the whole like PlayStation 5. It's just bad business.
Like, I was very excited for PSVR 2 until I saw that price, because I was expecting it to come in like realistically around $400.
Yeah, like $399 I feel like would have been a reasonable ask, but like, one, the console's still tough to come by. Two, what games is it going to have?
Yeah.
Because
Because it's not backwards compatible.
yeah,
Also.
so and I've heard very compelling arguments as for why that's the case and why that should be the case. One Will Smith, not that Will Smith, from Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod, did a lot of work with VR. And I was listening to that show. He swore up and down. He's like, trust me, as some like he spoke very authoritatively. He said, you do not want to play VR optimized for the original PSVR on the new one, because it doesn't just go 1-to-1. And he said it's going to be like, unless the developers go in there and do the work, it's not going to work. And he said if they're going to do the work, they're just going to, charge you a little bit to do it,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's totally understandable. But from Sony's perspective, that still means A, this is the launch of a console in quotes, and I forgot if I said A or one. Q, they launch lineups historically bad. Also, it's VR, so it's niche. So and there's not going to be a
Also,
built-in library in place.
outside of their mainline consoles, Sony is historically terrible at supporting platforms. They have supported
VR
the
has been the
PC
best.
better than they supported the Vita.
Yeah. The PSVR was the best that they've ever
Yeah, but like,
supported.
even from first party, like they had a handful of games, but nothing like what they did for the PS4. And like, yeah, they're doing Horizon this time, which is neat, but like, you like, I feel like if you're gonna charge $549, this isn't a wait and see purchase. This isn't just, well, I'm gonna buy it, play Horizon, and just wait and see what happens. You do that with a PS4. You're like, well, I played Killzone Shadowfall, and even if I don't play anything until Infamous Second Son comes out, at least I know there's gonna be stuff to play on this. I mean, shit, that's the whole reason I played Bloodborne, was because I wanted stuff to play on my PS4, and I said, screw it, I'm gonna buy Bloodborne. And that was amazing. That was the best decision I ever made, But VR is not the thing to do that with. You don't buy it and just, put it in a corner. You don't want to be looking at your VR headset. You want to be wearing it.
Yeah. It's just VR in and of itself is the most mainstream it's ever been, but it's still super niche. And there's not going to be a library at launch. And who knows how soon games are going to come out, how long developers have had the tech and have been developing for it. And again, PS5's still hard to come by, which again hinders the viability of VR in the immediate future. So the price point is just kind of the cherry on top to be like, there's a lot of decisions here that I think just don't make sense.
Like, I almost wish they had launched it as like I don't understand the logistics of it, but launch it as like a 2 SKU product and just be like, hey, here's the PSVR 2, PSVR 2 Pro.
Yeah.
And just be like, this one's $549. This has all the bells and whistles, higher res, all this stuff. Here's the regular PSVR 2. It has all the essential features. It's lower res. It's cheaper to make, maybe a little bit lower quality components and stuff like that, build quality. But here is the entry level VR, and here is the enthusiast VR. Please buy a PlayStation 5.
Yeah. And it's like, this might sound superficial because
go ahead.
Again, they've developed it down to a single wire, but even if it was wireless, the price point would make more sense. But you still have to be hardwired in to be able to use it. So,
like,
I don't know.
Disappointing. Unless they're adding VR support to Spider-Man Miles Morales, I don't see any reason to purchase that at launch.
Oh my god!
Imagine. No, I would play the shit out of that, dude.
That would be incredible
with that music. Just dun, 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 dun. I'm like, I'm Spider-Man. Bring me pictures of Spider-Man.
You're literally a mix of J. Jonah Jameson and Donkey. That's what you sounded like.
I didn't mean it. I'm publishing video games. Spider-Man.
But yeah, it's Sony's just had kind of a lot of questionable decisions, I feel like, recently, and just chalk this one up, throw it on top of the pile. I don't know.
We haven't
It's
seen
like God of War comes out this month, and that's exciting, but other than that, it's like,
we
I
haven't
don't know.
seen this peak level of Sony arrogance since the launch of the PS3.
Yeah.
I think Sony is like a great like industry leader when they are like when they have something to prove,
Sure, yeah.
and like,
When they're not
PS1
comfortable,
to
yeah.
PS2, they still had something to prove, and then like PS2 was what it was, and they were just like, we could do anything. And
Yeah,
then they
well,
made the
yeah.
PS3, and a bunch of people are comparing it to that. I see screenshots of like it has this energy, $599, and it's
Yeah,
just like it kind of does, and Sony at peak arrogance is so bad, but like I'm in this weird state right now. I kind of hate everybody except maybe Nintendo, because Nintendo is just doing what they do, and like
yeah.
that's fine. And then like I saw the trailer for the Mario movie and I was like, I might see that just cuz Jack Black seems awesome in this movie. And I'm like, you know what, Nintendo, you just keep doing what you're doing. You announced a new Fire Emblem game. Like, I got, you gave me Bayonetta. You're giving me everything I want. I'm gonna turn on my Switch. This is all you want. But like, Sony sucks ass because they're just so arrogant and annoying, and they just are so old man yelling at cloud. Call of Duty, our platform falls apart without Call of Duty. Ah! And then Microsoft's just out there. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. A Call of what? We don't even know what that is. We want
It's
Spyro.
it's honestly exhausting.
Microsoft is becoming friggin' insufferable too, because like they won't shut up about Game Pass, and like, yeah, Game Pass is the best value in gaming, but like they just won't shut up about it. And then Phil Spencer's finally out there. Yeah, I understand why people are upset, because we haven't launched a real AAA game in a while. Because Halo Infinite wasn't it.
Yep.
And like, Microsoft is the worst of the three at actually making video games, because every video game that has come out, like that they bought that. Psychonauts 2, great video game, already in development when Microsoft bought them. They just made it a better game by just giving them a blank check, Grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me Grounded couldn't have happened without Microsoft. From Obsidian, like, Pentiment, stuff like that. Like, nothing looks like Microsoft has yet to release a game from all these buyouts that is, this game would be impossible without Microsoft's support. Maybe Psychonauts 2. I talked about this a little bit in that article I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You read it, you
yeah.
saw.
Yeah.
But like, they are just awful at putting out video games. First party.
Yeah.
They released Forza.
It's
fine. I thought 4 was better for Horizon. I thought 4 was a much better game than 5. 5 never clicked with me. That's a me thing, maybe. That's okay. Halo Infinite's still not done 2 years later.
Nope.
Co-op is finally coming out in 6 days, hopefully. And like, credit where credit is due. You can complain about Sony and like, oh, they're just make the same game. At least it comes out and it works. Like, that game comes out, gets really good scores, sells a lot, and then they just, we're good. Nobody, the cycle on that was, do you remember how good that game was? That's the end of the year. It comes back. Do you remember how good that game was? And then Microsoft, it's like, does this game work yet?
The Call of Duty thing, maybe this is the avenue that Sony needs to bring back Resistance or SOCOM.
Well, they're
in a big
working.
way.
They're working with a bunch of
Or
X.
Mag too.
Oh God, bring back Mag. They're working with that studio that's a bunch of XCOD people, like, on a shooter. I don't remember the name of the studio, but they have like a publishing deal with them. So like, they're gonna do that, and then I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they were. I don't know if it'll be Resistance, because I feel like Insomniac would want to like keep that. And I don't think they're interested.
Or is it Killzone again?
I was gonna say, like, I could see them giving like some other like side studios, just be like, hey, make a multiplayer Killzone game.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think what was the last like brand new IP I guess probably Overwatch, multiplayer focused first person shooter that really blew up.
Splitgate.
So Overwatch 1, not 2.
Splitgate. People were talking
It's
about
like,
that, and they were like, if you don't like the new Halo, just play Splitgate.
yeah, it's just like the FPS genre was so saturated at one point in like the mid 2000s, early 2010s, and now it feels like outside of COD, it kind of feels dead.
Well,
Like there's Battlefield, there's COD, and then because the double A space kind of evaporated as we've progressed, there's no more singularities or no more like that
well,
kind of stuff.
there are the Wolfensteins, stuff like that, but those are AAA, and like those are the Doom 2016s, Doom Eternals. Like there is stuff out there that's doing it. They're fewer and further in between, and then there's a lot of like you're either free to play or
Yeah.
the AAA boxed experience. You've got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you're done, or you're endlessly replayable. And then
Mhm.
there's the games that skirt the line, like the Destinies and stuff like that do both. But like, that's really the only one. Oh my God, I played that game, the first Remnant, or the last Remnant, or not the last Remnant. Oh my God, the first Descendant.
The Last Remnant.
The first Descendant.
Wow.
That's how forgettable
The
that game
Last
was.
Remnant.
Oh man, I just
That's
swapped
like a
one
2013
forgettable game. I
JRPG.
swapped one forgettable game with another.
Wow, Last
Wow.
Remnant.
Um,
Holy
but the
crap.
first Descendant, which looked like some hot new shit from like Nexon, and that was just okay.
Yeah.
It seemed like not mediocre, but also not good. It was like Anthem if the gameplay loop was boring.
Yeah.
It like
Yeah.
honest to God, that game felt so much like Anthem. But I was like, I
Yeah.
would rather just play Anthem. And then I proceeded to install Anthem. Because that's the kind of lunatic I am. Is I was like, I'm
It's
gonna play Anthem.
it's Chris, all we have to do is just wait until Supergiant Games eventually gets to the FPS genre. They're making a game in every genre at this point. So just wait. They change genres with every game. Wait till they make their FPS and that'll be the good one.
Just thinking,
I'm
Andy, you
hoping
actually
for a new game announcement at the Game Awards again, like they did with Hades.
you
I'm
just
really
reminded me
hoping.
I have to play Proteus. Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me. I need to do that. I
Well,
almost
yeah,
forgot.
of
Oh
course.
God.
I'm your friend. I
Yeah.
told you I'd do it.
Yeah, no, you're man of your word.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, oh God, this tangent came from talking about PSVR. God damn it, PSVR.
Happens every time. Every time.
But yeah, like ultimately, they're all bad except for Nintendo. I just wish they had better hardware. But I
And,
mean, shit, it works
and
for them.
and I have not been mad at Valve because of the Steam Deck because it keeps getting huge updates
Oh,
and I
man.
keep loving it.
I was playing on my Steam Deck today. I
Yeah.
did a run in Vampire Survivors
Yeah.
because I was like,
Nice.
why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So good. That
Yeah.
that that little thing is so good. I got the dock. I guess I had one more thing to. I got the official dock.
Oh, the official one.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like,
Yeah.
boy, I have $79 to burn. I guess it's a nice
It's
dock, dude. This
yeah,
thing,
they have
the grip on the bottom. I'm telling you, I'm shaking it.
yeah.
Legitimately, I'm trying to move it. You push down
Yeah,
on this thing, forget about it. Shake my whole desk first.
I have the JSOX dock, which came out a few months ago. It also has kind of that rubber foot on it, and I think it has all the same ports. Yeah, they have done so much to fix the display when it's docked. It used to be so bad. It would output to like monitors at like 800 by 600, and you wouldn't be able to get to the menu option to change the resolution. And now they've put in so many updates, and it just works now. For those interested, who primarily use your Steam Deck docked, JSOX
Why?
does
First
make
off,
a
I have a
if you don't
question.
have a
First,
PC.
why? No, why would you use a dock?
Because if you don't have a PC, you just dock it up.
You could do. There are so many better things you could do than just use a Steam Deck as your primary PC. I'm sorry.
If you want to play games, you dock it. If you have a Mac and you want to play games, You dock your Steam Deck into gaming mode and you play games, and it works. Anyway, before I was so rudely
You're
interrupted,
right. I'm sorry.
JSOX does have a dock that has a slot free that where you can slot in an additional NVMe. So when it's
Oh, I've
docked, it
seen that.
has a ton of extra storage. So
That's fair.
um,
I should have
yeah,
let you finish.
yeah,
I'm the
usually
asshole.
that's a good idea.
I'm not even gonna post that on
But
Reddit. I am the asshole.
but yeah, it's I guess we can transition into what we've been playing because the Steam Deck is what I've been playing on. I've been playing a couple things. Um, I during my time after surgery, I was like, I kind of want just a big JRPG to get into and just lose myself in. So I downloaded Trails in the Sky, which is a huge
A
series,
slippery slope.
very slippery slope. I had started it on PSP a couple years ago, put in 40 hours, and then just dropped it for some reason and never went back. So I picked it up on Steam.
That's the
It had
Legend of Heroes, right?
yeah,
Chelsea. Okay.
yeah,
I always
yeah.
mix that up with another. There's like a 3D one that has like
Trails
a
of Cold Steel.
yes.
Yeah,
I always
yeah.
mix those two up, and I know one of them's like a old school kind of
Mhm.
2D, and the other one's the 3D. So yes.
Yeah, yeah. Trails in the Sky was the one. There are three games in that sub branch of the Trails series. And so I started that one again. I've put about 9 or 10 hours into it. It has some of the best battle music because it's so weird. It's like you get into a battle and it starts with this like jazz music, and I'm like, this is weird. And then you let the track play, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, okay. Um, but the first game is an incredibly slow burn. It's really setting up the rest of the universe that all of the other Trails games takes place in. So that's kind of a just a grind that I'm kind of going through because I want to get to I want to at least finish the Trails of the Sky like trilogy because I do like the main characters a lot. So I've put some time into that. Put a lot more time into Slay the Spire. I downloaded a bunch more mods for it. So playing more of the Knight from Hollow Knight. There's Goku. There's Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh. I downloaded a bunch of stuff. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. Uh, I've put some time into Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I own the game on Switch, but the thought you don't need to grab the stuff. It's fine for the show and tell. um, so I have the game on Switch. Um, but so I picked up my Switch and started playing it, and I'm like, for those of you who have picked up a Wii U gamepad and it feels like a $5 Fisher Price toy, after using the Steam Deck, now the normal Switch feels like that to me, and it really bothers me. So it took me about probably 3 or 4 hours to get everything up and running correctly. But I did get Yuzu installed on my Steam Deck, which is a Switch emulator. I bought the game legally. I have the game. Um, but so I've been playing some Xenoblade. I really like it. I think I think that now I'm back kind of at work, kind of in full force. The thought of huge JRPGs is daunting to where it's not the immediate game I just gravitate toward. As much as I want to play that game, it's just not the one I reach for. But I've put maybe, I think I put like 9 or 10 hours into it, and I really like it. Like, there's a bunch of nods and things to the previous two games, a bunch of questions that I have in my head based off of that. But from what I played so far, I think it would still be super enjoyable for people who haven't played the other two games. There's enough there to where it's its own kind of standalone, kind of interesting story so far. Um, so that put some more time into Madden 23 because why not? I started a my career mode because I was bored, and I didn't want to be a quarterback because that's boring because you play as quarterback the entire time. I did not want to play defense this time as much as I like my middle linebacker career modes in years past. So just a running back. Um, like a 6'8", 300-pound running back that's fast. And I picked the Chiefs so I can play with Mahomes and completely cripple that offense by calling run plays constantly. But we win, so it's fun.
That's always my
Um,
problem when I play running back, because I'm always like, no, 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 don't throw the ball. Don't throw the ball. Just give it to me.
y-
No, you're gonna throw.
yeah,
Okay, well, no, no. How about we audible? I need another
well,
touchdown.
yeah, well, that's the thing. In years past, and there might be a way to do it in 23, but I haven't found it yet. I was hoping I wouldn't be calling the plays. The
I
the
know.
coach would just be calling the plays,
That
and then
always
I
bothered
would
me.
just be dealing with them. Like, what's the point in playing a my player mode if you're still the one calling all the plays? It
I
didn't used to be like that.
I used to just make a rule that I would just use the recommended play every time. That was the
Yeah,
rule, and I wouldn't change it unless
that's what I've
like
started doing. Yeah.
unless it made like no, like this logically makes sense to call this audible. This like we have the look, we should run this. That's the only time I would
Hmm.
change it. But like
Yeah.
otherwise I
I've
was
started
locked in.
I've started doing that to where it's like I hit recommended plays and I always pick like the bottom play no matter
Yep.
what it is and kind of go that route. So that's something I've just been putting like not a ton of time into, but it's kind of fun. What I have been putting time into, Chris. Oh my god. So I finished Hollow Knight earlier this year and it quickly became one of my favorite games of all time. It's an incredible game.
I
It's
purchased it recently.
$15. Oh, why?
I don't remember. I just know I bought Hollow
That,
Knight. It was on sale,
that
I
tracks.
guess. But I have it.
Yep, and so when you buy Hollow Knight nowadays, by default, you get the version with all 4 huge DLC packs. And that game is just so phenomenal in so many ways that's hard to explain. I was looking for another indie game to get into because there's nothing in the AAA space on my backlog or in outside of God of War Ragnarok in the near future that I'm really interested in. So I was like, let me look up some indie hidden gems. And one that came up a few times was Crosscode. Have you heard of
Yes.
Crosscode?
I have heard good things.
So it is a top down kind of ARPG in the sense that it's not turn based. You have a fast melee attack. You can shoot where it kind of becomes like a dual stick shooter. Um, and over the past 2 days, and again, this is partly thanks to the Steam Deck and me being able to play wherever I want. I put 20 hours into the game in the past 2 days. Um,
That's a lot.
so yeah, so the setup of the game is that it's an isekai. So it's someone in an MMO, and it's a real person in an MMO um, who has amnesia, can't remember how they got there, and it sounds like just the most generic setup to a game ever. But the art is some of the best pixel art. It's my favorite kind of pixel art to where it can only be done today. It couldn't have been done back then. There's a ton of little flourishes and animations. The character portrait art for when there's dialogue is amazing. And the world is just really enthralling. Um, it's again, it's modeled after an MMO, so um, there's a desert area and there's a forest area and there's all that kind of stuff. But a huge emphasis in that game is on exploration and traversal. So there are a ton of different kind of levels of terrain throughout the environment and you don't have a jump button, but when your character goes to the edge of a ledge, automatically jump. So there's a ton of traversal puzzles where you'll see like a chest up on a cliff, and you're like, "How do I get there?" And so you're looking around on for lower ledges to slowly make your way up. And sometimes you have to go to a different screen to basically climb up and then go north into the original screen that you were on and go around that way. It's a ton of fun. The combat is super fast and the game is kind of tough. Um, Enemies hit really fast and really hard. Um, but there's a great upgrade system in the game as well. There's a skill tree, almost kind of like a little bit like the sphere grid from Final Fantasy X, which I'm a big fan of. Um, you get a bunch of over the course of the game. I just got my second out of 4 elemental powers that I know you get, but each of them have their own separate upgrade tree with special abilities you have and special buffs as well. And you can switch to any of them on the fly with the D-pad at any time. Um, the dual stick shooting is good. It will be better with a keyboard and mouse, obviously, um, but it's fine. And then the characters have been a highlight. They're just so freaking charming, and I want to protect all of them. And
Your
it's
fatherly
and
instincts are kicking in already.
Yeah, as part of the story, you join a guild, and it's just like a tiny guild of like misfits, and you're just going out completing quests, and you go through the motion to where you open your when they're available, you open your main menu and you go to party and you send them an invite and they join your party. And it's it does a good job of sometimes making you forget that you're not actually playing an MMO and you're actually just playing a single player game because constantly when you're running around there will be other characters just running by. You'll be
Oh,
fighting
I
something and
love
almost
that.
dying. Yeah, you'll be fighting something almost dying, and you'll see like a party just run by and ignore you and just move on to the next screen. There have been times where I've entered, so each environment are split up into basically separate screens, like a Zelda game or something, like a traditional Zelda game. And there have been times where those kind of just NPCs who are running through have shown me like how to get to a higher ledge because they're just traversing the environment because they're experienced in the game and they've been around, and it's really really cool. And the quest structure in the game is a little MMO-y. There's definitely fetch quests, but um, the main story of the game is kind of what's kept me going. It's you're playing as an amnesiac who um, who basically can't log out of the game. Um, and in between chapters, you'll get these dream sequences where everything's kind of the characters are kind of grayed out, but you see characters moving around and dialogue happening, and it feels like there's going to be a huge reveal soon. Um, but yeah, man, it's $25, and I think that might be the version with the DLC episode. It's like an epilogue as well that came out for the game. Um, I I would highly recommend it for anyone who wants to try it. Uh, there's an actual demo on Steam that you can download and play and try it out if you want. But I've put 20 hours into the game, and I think I'm roughly maybe 35 to 40% done with it. It's a long game. There's equipment, there's crafting in a way. I'm not a huge fan of that system in particular, but um, the art style is great. Again, the character portraits are so expressive, and I can sit at the main menu screen. I could sit there forever, um, and just listen to the music and just like watch the wind blow through the character's hair with looking out at the ocean. It's I highly recommend it. Oh,
I was just
sorry.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna say kind of the last core pillar that I almost forgot about were kind of similar to Zelda games. There's like these huge dungeons with these puzzles that quickly become very complicated. Um, I'm not a puzzle guy, so but I've found enough of them engaging enough for my small brain to enjoy it. And I've definitely looked up walkthroughs a couple times at this point because I don't want to bang my head against the wall when I'm having a good time. Um, but the dungeons are really really well done, and there's also some accessibility options to where you can turn down there are sliders for like enemy damage and enemy attack frequency, and also for puzzle speed because a lot of the puzzle stuff comes down to a lot of timing based things. So you can slow down the puzzle speed, where if you have to like freeze a pillar of water, it will take a lot longer for it to kind of defrost if you're having problems. So there's accessibility options. There's a lot of customization options. This is the developer's very first game that they ever released. It's just impressive all around, and I could see this getting up there with Hollow Knight and kind of the pantheon, along with all of Supergiant Games catalog of like just those elite kind of indie experiences that I think everyone should experience. So
Yeah, I was just double checking because I feel like that used to be on Game Pass.
it did used to be.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was checking to see if it was still there. Unfortunately, it is
Hmm.
not. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to just keep an eye out for it because that sounds like it, I know exactly what you're talking about with the puzzles because I felt the same way back in the day playing Golden Sun. Like there were a couple of those
Yep.
where like I would just have to be like, okay, and I would see the crudely drawn like ASCII art. Like here's I
Hmm.
used line not ASCII, but like, I used lines to
No,
draw
I know
this
what you mean.
puzzle, and like the circle is the rock, and I'm just like, okay. And I had to
Hmm.
GameFAQs saved my life on my dial-up internet.
Yeah.
Mom, I need
Yeah.
to use this. I need to figure out how to solve this puzzle. Don't call anyone. I need to
Just
know.
give me 5 minutes, Mom. Jeez. But yeah, and the writing is phenomenal as well. And again, there's a completely free demo on Steam. I would highly recommend people go and download it. It's like a
Don't pick up the
15
phone.
minute demo.
The chat's going wild with it right now.
Uh,
Real quick,
Jeez.
yes, I do want to shout Cypher. Yes, after this, 100% we should play that. I am super. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, it's a Past Within. I'm super excited about. That's from the creator. That was from the developers of the White Door. You know, I adored that
Oh
game.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah. Ha.
asymmetrical co-op game. What?
You said the White Door, and then you said you adored it.
I did.
Ah.
Um, stupid funny story of dial-up, and Jem in the chat just reminded me. Don't pick up the phone. I'm winning a StarCraft match. I was playing Halo: The Fall of Reach in StarCraft because that was one of my favorite maps in the original StarCraft. There was one based on the Fall of Reach, and I remember I was winning. I was doing really good, and then the internet dropped out because my friend was calling me and he wanted me to sleep over. And I was glad that the phone call went through because she's like, "It's your friend Patrick." I'm like, "Oh, hey, you want to come sleep over?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that."
Hey, this is Patrick.
No, this is Patrick. Fuck. I'm sorry.
fine.
That's my worthless story of the hour.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
I'm gonna dive into some of what I've been playing, and actually, I don't want a big like white screen on, so I'm gonna look at this on my phone. I made a heap of everything I've been playing. I already talked about Vampire Survivors. I want to talk a little bit about Call of Duty. The review is up. I just have to say, like, this Modern Warfare 2 is the most like kind of dick strokingest homage to the original trilogy that it could possibly be. Light spoilers. Some potential. I don't know. Do you plan on playing this, Ross?
Haven't really played
Okay.
one seriously since Call of Duty 4.
So light spoilers here. There is the Gilly mission. There's one of those. There's an AC-130 mission. There's there's Soap. There's Gaz. There's Ghost. The gang's all here. There are hints at a certain popular villain from the original trilogy who may or may not text the words "No Russian" during a final cutscene on an airplane. Cover your ears for 5 seconds. It's Makarov. They're just doing it again.
Yep.
They're just
that's what
doing
they do.
it again.
When you run out of ideas, you do the first thing again because it's nostalgic.
And like the thing is I heard so many great things. And like by the time this game came out, I wasn't even sure if I was going to buy it. And then they were like, play the campaign a week early. And I was like, you know what? This game has so much hype behind it. I'm like, I'm going to give Call of Duty one more chance. I literally haven't bought one since World War II. Not, I know how that sounds. Call of Duty World War II. I haven't been playing since the 40s, you know? But that was the last Call of Duty I spent my hard-earned cash on. The last one I enjoyed was Advanced Warfare, which was good. That was the good Call of Duty of the last generation. You cannot change. But well, no, 2019 I hear is, good shit. I didn't have time to play it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play this one. I watched a story recap. It all seemed good. But like this game is just like the ultimate, just like throwback. Like, you remember this? You remember when you did this? And you remember this guy? Hey,
it's one of
remember that
those.
time you did the AC-130? Well, what if we did it, but it was way too long and boring? And then, like, in the first cutscene, you see a guy, General Shepard. In the first cutscene, you see his name come up in the subtitle. I'm like,
Shepard.
Great. I'm like, great. I know he's going to fucking betray me at some point because that's what he did in Modern Warfare 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Ghost is going to live through this one because his face is on the cover. He's not going to kill Ghost. And I think he also killed Gaz. No, he killed Roach. Rest in peace, Roach.
Geralt's horse.
Nick Roach, Rams linebacker. No, I'm kidding.
Man, what's going on with the Rams this season, man?
I don't want to talk about. Well, no, they're awful. I mean, that's frankly all it is. They're terrible. Terrible.
Just what happened from last year to this
The
year.
O line is not what it was. The offense has Stafford has no time, but also isn't effectively using the time he has. Our receivers aren't, like, outside of Cooper Kupp, there's nobody reliable catching the ball. Allen Robinson has not been it so far. Our running game is atrocious, and our defense can't win games.
Did you lose a ton of people outside of, like, Von Miller?
So I want to be clear. The defense can keep us in games, but when we get shut out in the second half, what are they supposed to do? When they're on the field so much, of course they're going to give up points.
Oh, you lost.
We lost Andrew Whitworth, and we lost Austin Corbett too. And then so we had people step up, and like the guys who, like the guy Noteboom who was supposed to replace Whitworth, he played well last season, has not played as well this season. So and then Stafford is sitting there, and instead of getting rid of the ball, he's just like taking sacks. He still has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns this season. Cam Akers. Call of Duty is better than the Rams. I can say that with confidence, but I have no regrets because we're the reigning Super Bowl champs until somebody else does it. So I've got that. I would make that trade 10 out of 10 times to win that Super Bowl. I still like Matthew Stafford. I'm upset with him, but I don't hold it against him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would take that ring 10 out of 10 times, just like Brady, would he stay in New England or go to Tampa? He'd go to freaking Tampa every time just because he knows he's going to get that ring.
And divorce his wife.
And divorce his wife, of course. His wife of many years. I'd rather play football. But yeah, like this Call of Duty is just so much. It's like, remember these things? It's a new trilogy. It's definitely going to be at least one more game. I can tell you that with certainty. Infinity Ward's going to make another one of these. It is just such an ego stroke. Like, it is just like, I remember, it is so for the fans that, like, I feel like you lose something having not played that original trilogy because, like, they set up these moments. It's like watching Endgame without watching any of the earlier Avengers movies.
Yeah. And
it's like, as somebody who watched those movies and played those games, I'm like, I know that guy. And for me, even as not a hardcore fan, I still see the name Shepard. I'm like, that's the guy who shot Ghost in the son of a bitch. And I'm like, I'm scanning these moments, and I'm like, and then like we're working with this PMC. I'm like, boy, can't wait for them to betray me. Sure as shit. Guess what happens?
To give you cupcakes.
And then they betrayed me.
Oh. There were bombs in the cupcakes.
There were bombs in the cup. Don't eat the cupcakes. They'll give you gas.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of wide sentiment I've seen on the campaign is relatively lukewarm.
It is just like it's so lost in itself that it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's just looking in the mirror at itself, and it's just like, I'm beautiful. And everybody's like, dude, like, just, do something. And they're like, no. I'm gorgeous. Now, for the record, the game looks incredible.
Sony.
The game looks
Yeah.
incredible. There are scenes in that are jaw-dropping. Some of the lighting, like I played it in HDR on the OLED monitor. Phenomenal. I just had my buddy, TJ was over here earlier, friend of the site. He saw it and he was just like, holy shit. Like just looking at it. And I showed him some of the scenes. He's like, oh my God. Like he was equally impressed as me. And I was just like, dude, this is incredible. But like the weird thing they did too is like I played on normal and it felt like I was playing on like hardened because like the AI is so much more player aware than they used to be. So like I'll move behind cover to a different spot. I'll peek out of cover and they're shooting me in the face. Because they followed me through that wall or whatever. I've had guys, and the crazy thing is the allied AI, like Price and them, they will slay if you let them. Like they will kill, which is a nice change of pace. Yes, Jem, the Amsterdam level is gorgeous. Gorgeous. My big gripe with that level is that you have to they take somebody hostage and then like these dudes come out of the woodwork, like they're like blending and then they use civilians as cover. And so I failed that mission like 6 times. So I shot civilians or didn't see the guy who looked like everyone else, but was shooting me off screen with a gun. Anyway, the thing is like the AI does not fuck around in this game and they will kill you as fast as they can. I had guys walk up through covering fire and just shotgun me in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then like I've had times where I'll just peek out of cover and I get 2-tapped by a shotgun by a dude who's crouching and it's just like, I'm ready. And I'm like, this isn't multiplayer, this is single player. But like, it was just so frustrating because there's these times where it's like, generally the battles are smaller scale, but once like the AI, to its credit, the AI is generally pretty good. Like they'll try and flank, they'll try and get around you. But like, it's just so deadly that like, if you're used to playing a Call of Duty campaign in like that classic, like run and gun kind of way, you can't do that in this game. Like you could be dead in 2 hits. And it's like, I could only imagine playing on the higher difficulties. I'd never do it. Seeing how that was on normal, I would never do it. I don't care enough. But like, I played the original Modern Warfare 2 on Veteran. I remember I did that because I wanted to platinum the game. And so my first playthrough, I did that on Veteran. And it was frustrating, but I did it. And I feel like this game, now Modern Warfare 2 was considered easier than, COD 4 and stuff like that. This game is just as frustrating in a lot of those ways. And this was on normal. And like, sometimes it's just like, they give you objectives like, hey, you need to get a new car. And they have all these cars on the side of the road. And so I go and get in one of those cars. They're like, you're letting them get away. And then they get away. They're like, hey, he ran through that door. I don't see the door yet. I don't know where the door is. Guy got away. Like they give you these objectives and they're just like figured out. So it becomes like, if you're not like right on top of it, at one point, like the car thing, I had to get out of my car, climb onto the roof of my car and jump to another car, which of course makes sense because it's Call of Duty. It's all about the spectacle. But my logic brain, that's not the first thing I think to do is like, well, let me just get out of my car and jump to another car. Like, that's not what I'm thinking. But that's what I had to do. And I had to keep doing it. And then there's this thing where you got to chase this truck with mines. And then the truck just starts throwing the mines at you. And of course, that blew me up. There was a part in the ghillie mission where like these enemies spawn in. It's the classic, oh, get down. Let them go by you. And one dude will always line up with you. Every single time. He will always, no matter where you are, this one dude will always go wherever you are. I got up at one point. Because I failed it because he kept walking by me but seeing me, so he would shoot me. I got up, ran to the edge of the map. He still came at me.
Really?
By himself. He walked at me. There was another one where these guys get out of trucks. Same thing. I ran to the edge of the map. They followed me. They know where you are at all times, and then the game just kind of bullshits it. And it's just like, well, these guys got out of this truck and they're supposed to walk this way, but you're over there, so they're just gonna walk that way instead. And then like I ran around without them seeing me, and like a couple of them turned around. Flabbergasted.
Wow.
This game is so annoying because you could see the sausage being made while you're making it, and I'm just like, I'm trying to like eat this sausage, and they're like trying to make it as I'm eating it, and I'm just like, dude, this sucks. Stop it. Let me finish. They're just like, no more.
A lot of sausage talk and hand motions for our audio listeners.
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
The multiplayer's fine. It's Call of Duty. I feel like it's always just a little too fast for my taste, because I had a couple of games where I was like, I got into a good groove, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling this. And then I had a couple of games where like these dudes were just like spawning behind me because it was a hard point or something. I had you know, UAVs above, and I'm not thinking about it. And so this dude's just holding this door waiting for me to run through, because of course I'm going to run through. I'm not thinking about that. I play Destiny. Like, yeah, there's a radar in Destiny, but like you don't get to laser pinpoint where they are like you do with a UAV, and you can see me moving in real time, and you're like, he's coming to a 3, 2, 1 shotgun. It's fine. It's fine. It's Call of Duty. There's a 2 at the end of it. It's Modern Warfare. For a lot of people, that's all they need. Yeah, I mean, Jem is also right. The new COD games are slower than older ones. Like the movement's a little slower and it's more meaningful. But like you can still do, you know, I get drop shot all the time, and I'm just like, right, that's a thing in this game. It is very campy, but Call of Duty has always been very campy. It's not my cup of tea. I'll probably play more of it. I had a good enough time, but it's not my favorite thing to do.
Awesome. Yeah.
I played more Destiny. Festival of the Lost. I'm shooting guys with pumpkin heads. It's quite boring. I'm not having a great time, and so I'm playing less of it because it's not as fun. I really hope Lightfall brings a more dramatic change to how they do seasonal content, because I don't think I want another year of this. It's not as good as they probably think it is, with all due respect to them. Not as good as they think it is. This season's story was so predictable. I called it weeks in advance. I was like, this is how this is going to play out. And I was right every step of the way, because they had done it before. Better with other characters.
Like Call of Duty.
Season of the Plunder is the Call of Duty of Destiny seasons.
Season of the COD.
Season of the COD.
Deadly COD 2D, Jay.
Rest in peace. No. Bitcoin. I've been playing more SD Gundam Battle Alliance, which is way more fun than it has any right to be. I finally got my strike freedom. And one of the best things you can do in that game is when you use like your Gundam special ability, it has like a big like effect that comes up, and like, you know, he does like the crazy lasers. It's just like, you know, whatever. But I have it play Vegeta's Super Saiyan theme from like the Bruce Faulconer cut of Dragon Ball Z. And so every time I do it, you just hear and I'm just like, yeah, and it plays the whole song. And so I'm just lasering, and it's just, I can hear it. I can just hear the screaming in my mind. And I'm like, yeah. I had sword art music going on for that. Like some of the intense sword art stuff. I had that going for some of them. And it was just, it's so dumb. And I love it. At one point, I had like the entire opening, like my favorite intro music from Gundam Seed. I had that as one of the special things. So it just played that whole song every time I did it.
Amazing.
There was this one mission. We had to farm it to get the strike freedom. And like, the actor, they're saying this thing, but like it's all in, it's all in Japanese. There's no dub, but he'd just be like, just every time, and he just made that noise, and he would do it like 5 or 6 times each run. He'd just be, and just like, we're doing this for like the 5th time, and we're just dying laughing every time he does it. Because we have the cue, and we would just say it with him. It's like, and it was that kind of nonsense word sound. And it was the dumbest thing. It was the most fun I've ever had with that game. It was so good. It was so good. I can't even say it without laughing. It broke me, man. That game's great. Oh, but it looks really good. Like, it's a good looking game. It's fun. It's a nice little co-op thing, that you can play, or you can like bring in like other pilots, AI pilots that'll help you. And so like I did a Gundam Wing mission where I was supposed to help like the Wing Zero with something. So of course I brought the hero in the Wing Zero, because why wouldn't I? And then me piloting the Strike Freedom. Why wouldn't I bring Kira Yamato also piloting the Strike Freedom? Why wouldn't I do it?
I know everything you're saying right
now. Ross is following along very closely. Yeah. It's fun. It is like that BS B game kind of vibe, but it just feels so fun and so good that I really had a good time with that. Continue to have a good time with that now that I got my favorite mobile suit,
Mm-hmm. Nice.
It's good times. I picked up this game on a whim this month. It's like an auto battler kind of game. Mage and Monsters. And it's good. It's early. I think it's still in early access. I lied. It is not. I thought it was in early access.
Lie to my face.
Right to you, my guy. Yeah. It's $4.
Oh, nice.
It's so. I like this game. I like playing it. It's like, so, there are waves where it basically stacks up like, okay, you're going to fight like X amount of these guys, X amount of these guys. And you got your guys who go out, and every round you win, you get like gold that you could spend on upgrades or additional units. But the game has a cool mechanic where if you save your gold, it basically like generates interest. So like once you have 100 gold, you get an extra 10 gold every round. And if you 200, you get 20, and so on and so forth up to 500. So how I've kind of tried to play it is to kind of min-max it, spend the least amount I can early to survive the waves, to then get to that 500 as fast as I can, and turn that into big bucks, no whammies. And sometimes it seems like, yeah, okay, I've got the strat, and then I lose on like wave 8, and I'm just like, how the hell did that just happen? I feel like I was good. Sometimes I misjudge. Sometimes I overcompensate, and it's weird. I have gotten to the end game twice, where like basically you are thrown against like whatever wave you beat, whatever group you had when you beat wave 30. It says, okay, spend the rest of your gold. You're never coming back to the screen to buy stuff, and we're going to throw you at increasingly difficult waves until you fail. And so it used to be 9, now it's 5 since a recent update, but then there's an endless after that. So I got to, when it was still 9, I got to like 5 and then failed, but this most recently I got to 5, the now end what used to be 9, and I beat it, and then I went to endless mode for like 4 or 5 rounds. And it's a lot of it's for an auto battler. There's a lot of micro because you have like these spells assigned to Q, W, E, and R, and some of them are things like Chain Lightning, which will just go out and you can use it like in the early waves. You can use it to just kill a bunch of little frog dudes, and they just drop dead. It's great. There are spells Some of them I'm not crazy about. Some of them are like AoE that you just drop and it does its own thing and they can hurt your friendlies. There's one that you can make a dude explode, but like he gets really fast first and he'll run up to the enemy and then blow up. Not crazy about that one because you're just throwing a dude away. But there are ones that heal you, ones that buff your guys, ones that summon more guys. So you can just plop down like 3 knights and just be like, oh, okay, these guys, I'm putting them right on the front line. I can summon, range. So I'm going to put these archers in the back, and you can strategically place these to, reinforce a weak side of your line because you don't get to choose how they're set up. They just kind of go on their own. So if I know my bottom flank is going to get rocked by these dudes, I'm going to put them kind of in the middle to slow that down. Top wave's going to clear out and then come down. And, there's a surprising amount of strategy to it that I've really enjoyed. It's not a game that I put like multiple hours into. I think I have 4 hours in the game, but I've played it like every other day. I play it every other day. I do a couple of runs. I get some gems. I buy upgrades, permanent upgrades. There's progression like that. You can buy new characters that start with different abilities. So I bought this dude who starts with the ability to summon melee. I've started playing on the higher difficulty because it generates more gems. So that's kind of my goal now, is to get through all 30 waves on brutal difficulty and see how that goes. They have more health, and so I have to change the way I play to do that. It's fun and I like it. Sometimes it just feels a little weird. I don't know if it's just some of the randomness to the engagements, but there are scenarios where I feel like I get to the same wave with a similar loadout and it just doesn't work. And so that gets frustrating for me, where I'm like, I know I've beaten a wave with less than this. Like I've beaten this with less. Now I overcompensated and I still failed. And part of that could just be me because maybe I'm overcompensating in the wrong ways, but it's also just a thing of, hey, it doesn't feel consistent. So maybe that's something that gets worked on via patches, things like that. It's no Vampire Survivors, but it's a nice little game for $4. You can't really go wrong. Definitely something if you're interested in that. It kind of like you can play it very idle if that's what you want to do. Like you can kind of ignore the spells. Those are kind of the active abilities. If you want to ignore that stuff and just overpower them and buy upgrades, like I want my dudes to have more attack, more health, I want to just focus on melee or whatever, you can do that and you can play it very passively. But if you want to get engaged, it can be a lot of fun. It's worth a shot. There's a demo, I believe, for it. I'm just going to double check. I believe.
And what was the name of it again?
Mage and Monsters.
Mage and Monsters.
There is not a demo. I thought there was a game I was looking at recently that had a demo. There's these.
Was it crosscode?
No. I think it's like a 1-person kind of dev thing. If you look at it on Steam, like in the About This Game, you can kind of see it. There's these little, actually, that's a perfect example. There's like these little skeleton mage dudes. They kick your ass. You got to be careful of them. But like they drop like 3 knights on them. You can see it on the Steam page if you load it, but that's basically like how it is. So that's one of like the strategic moves is these guys are going to wreck my front line. I'm going to sack these 3 dudes in exchange for my front line wiping out the bulk of their forces, And that's the thing. And that's where it gets weird, is because you'll do that sometimes. And then sometimes those guys in the back will just kill them all because they're not going to focus their attention for whatever reason. But then there's times where they all focus their attention, wipe them out, and then wipe your front line. And that's where it starts to feel inconsistent, and that's where it starts to get frustrating because it's like the strategy that worked doesn't feel consistent. And now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, why doesn't it work consistently? And so that's maybe part of the fun. I don't know. But it's interesting. It's a game I'll definitely play more. I honestly, I thought it would take longer for me to beat it. So that's kind of part of it for me, is like I expected it to last. I expected the initial like I want to get to the end feeling to last a little longer. I don't know if that says more about me or about the game, but I did it. I beat it. I don't know how much more. I only got 2 more. I don't know how much more I really want to get into the first Descendant. I played the beta for a few hours, like the day after it came out, because the first day had a lot of like server problems. There is a lot of really cool things in that game, and then there's a lot of things that are just really weird. And the culmination of my playtime, I unlocked a new character, and like she had these really cool. Her name was Bunny. And of course, dressed, bunny, whatever, South Korean developer. So, she was, she had a very pleasing figure, because that's how they do. So yeah. Oh yeah. Fan service waifus. Yes. Jim. I couldn't have said it better myself. There you go. Fan service waifus. And she was great because I was running around, and she has these awesome abilities where like you generate static, and then that turns into the ability to activate, chain lightning type abilities. So I'm running around like the Flash, but chaining lightning onto enemies that are around me. So I'm just running around killing groups of ads, and I was having a great time. I was leveling her up so we could go fight this big boss. And I'm fighting this big boss, and this game. So this boss had this ability that marks a target on the ground, and it's going to drop something on it. Every time the boss did it, it would mark something in front of me, and as soon as I touched the marker, I died.
What?
So imagine you're running around, and the marker's right here, and you run, and it comes down right here, and I die. For the audio listeners, I illustrated it with my fingers, with my little fingies, and I made a circle, or I made a fist, basically, and I ran onto that fist and died. So that kept happening.
That's weird.
And then there are situations where I was getting hit by stuff, like, in ways that, I'd be behind cover, and then the boss is just targeting me behind the cover, and then like he would break the cover. So I have to keep running, you have to kill the ads to get health, but then if they don't drop health, I'm just running around at low health. So of course I get downed again. But it's these situations where I'm just getting one shot by this thing. I run into it and I die, And when I'm playing the game normally, I don't have situations like that. Like I didn't go down really in combat until that boss fight. And I went down multiple times in that boss fight. And so did the whole group we were playing with. Like everybody the first time we tried it, I went in at a much lower level than I should have, and we failed it. So that's why I leveled up the character, got everything set up, and I was like, okay, we're ready. Let's try it again. And it was just, this dude was like the ultimate bullet sponge. And the way the guns work in that game are so weird, because in some cases, like, you're firing an SMG, and the SMG is hitting from across the room, but then you got this laser thing that looks like it's hitting the boss, but it's not. And so you have to end up being really close to the boss, which puts you in a vulnerable position, because then the boss can just, swipe. So every time I got close enough to use this gun, the boss would just knock me away or do a lot of damage. They would just hit me and do a lot of damage, so I had to back off. So I felt kind of restricted in my loadouts a little bit. And it was just this weird thing where it felt like everything I was doing was wrong. When I tried to go in and use my abilities, the boss would just like wreck me. When I tried to hang back and shoot from afar, I would run out of ammo, and then I had to get involved to get more ammo back. And so this fight just became this really frustrating slog. It took like 20 minutes. And granted, not every, it's probably not going to take that long once I'm seasoned, once I'm used to the game. But as like an early impression of this game, it just felt bad. Like it was something that I kind of left it, and I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to play anymore during this beta. I'm kind of interested to see what happens down the line, but I'm not, I'll try the game. I was interested enough that I'll probably try the game when it does come out, but I wasn't impressed enough that I think like, oh, like this is going to be, this is going to be what I play when I'm not playing Destiny. That's not the game. That does not seem like that game. It seems very busy. It seems very. It seems like there's probably going to be a lot of ways that they're going to try and be like, "Hey, you can do this, or you could just spend money."
Gotcha. Okay. That's unfortunate.
Cypher says in the chat, "The Nexon game probably won't survive that long." Yeah, it was. It was. all the characters seem very like defined in what they're supposed to do. And so like Bunny seems definitely like an ad clear. My first character was like, and it's weird because there's these characters and like you pick a character, but it's like, it's more like Warframe than Destiny. Because you change characters and the characters have all the different abilities. But then there's also like ultimate versions of characters, which are the same character but have better stats. But to unlock the characters, you have to do all these quests to unlock these items, which you then turn into items that you need to make this character. And then there was like an 8-hour timer for the character that it let me skip because of the beta. But the game like kind of looked like a Destiny with like grappling hook. It has a grappling hook. That's one of its redeeming qualities. It does have a grappling hook.
Fair.
That makes
Fair,
every
fair.
game better. But like it's definitely more Warframe than anything. And at a certain point I was like, I could just play Warframe and it would be much better than this.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like Warframe has a ton of content and everything, and this kind of feels like Anthem but worse.
Woof.
Anthem, but even more bland and way too waifu.
Yeah.
Damn, that would have been a good title.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That. Yeah, it's it's weird times. It's weird time. Last game I want to talk about. I did play a horror game this month, and I had been meaning to get back to it for the longest time. I kind of want to do a write up for it. I played Fear again, the OG Fear.
Nice.
I played it to completion. I did mod it slightly. Infinite flashlight, because that flashlight dies way too fast. And when the game doesn't want you to have a flashlight anyway, it just turns it off, so it doesn't really matter. The other thing I did eventually was I turned on infinite ammo because I just didn't want to play around. I was like, I just want to finish this game. Like, I played it all before. There was a lot of that game I didn't remember. Because I started that game a lot. So a lot of the early stuff I remember very clearly. And then I have faint memories of stuff, but there was stuff I did that I had no recollection of ever doing. Like I was stuck at one point. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what this is. I don't remember doing any of this. And then there was stuff after that I remembered. And I was like, how did I not remember that? But I remember what? Fear is a really, really good game still. But it is a game that I learned now. I played it very poorly the first time I played it, because I played it in a way where I didn't always use my slow-mo. I kind of preserved my slow-mo for emergencies. But that is a game that if you are in a combat scenario and you are not slow-mo, you are going to get messed up. And I really kind of played it that way this time, and I had a much better time. Anytime I saw dudes, I would try and pick one off right off the rip and then immediately kick in the slow-mo. And it's so cool because I didn't play it that way when I played it back on Xbox and stuff, is I heard dialogue I never heard before. Their guy's just like, he's too fast. They're slowing down. It's just like, oh, he's too fast. Because they're all moving slow. And to them, I'm moving in full speed, crazy fast reaction time, and they're just like, I can't see him, where'd he go? And that stuff was really cool. And I'm like, all right, I'm this crazy soldier. And having the context now of Fear 3 made a lot of the stuff. Fear 3 didn't make a lot of, Fear 1 set the stage for a lot of that stuff. And so kind of having played the whole Fear trilogy, there was a lot that I did pick up that I probably missed the first time. I did get genuinely spooked at one point because I was climbing down this ladder, and when I got to the bottom, I did a double take, and I looked and I saw, and then Alma was there and she disappeared, and then Paxton shows up to my left and he's saying something. I'm like, what the? Ah! So I'm like, oh my God. And I had to sit quietly for a second because my heart was racing. The back half of that game gets really weird with the pacing. That is a game that starts very strong, goes very hard for a long time, and then kind of loses it towards the end. It's still really good. Um, I skipped the expansions this time because they're not technically canon. I remember Extraction Point being good and Perseus Mandate being just okay. But part of me regrets not playing Extraction Point because I decided instead to play Fear 2 afterward. Remembering that I enjoyed Fear 2 the first time I played it.
Mhm.
Boy, is that a bad game. Just rotten. It
Yeah.
is nothing. All of the things that are good about Fear 1 are absent in Fear 2. The AI is atrocious by comparison because that AI in the first Fear game was deadly. They would just show up like if you lost track of them, they were behind you. Like the moment you lose sight of them, they are somewhere off your screen about to shoot you. And you don't know where. And so that's half the thing is like, I'm like, I know there's another guy here. There was one more guy. I don't know where he went. And then I hear, there he is. Off to my right. I'm like, shit, slow-mo, gunning him down and stuff. And it's such a loop that modern games don't have it. Modern shooters don't have this feel. Call of Duty, maybe they're on the track with kind of like making it all count. But like Fear did it in a way where you were stronger than them as an individual, but if you didn't use your strength, you were just on equal terms. And like Call of Duty doesn't do that. They're just kind of like, hey, these guys will just kill you if be careful, I guess, whatever. But like Fear challenged you to use your abilities effectively to make every engagement count. And there is nothing like it in modern shooters. This game from 2004 is still like best in class in the moment to moment encounters. Or I guess I should say not the moment to moment, but in its encounters, it is still best in class.
Mm-hmm.
And it is
Nice.
so shockingly good. And then Fear 2 is so shockingly awful. Like I just wanted to blow through it. So Fear 1 doesn't have like difficulty settings no, I think it does. I think I played on normal. I started Fear 2 on easy and I was just like, this is too easy. And then I turned it to normal and I had to double check to make sure it was on normal because it still felt too easy. Cause like those dudes just die and they just stand there. They'll just stand there like doofuses and just take it. And it's so much easier to live. I didn't even have slow-mo yet, and I felt like I was just running and gunning. Like there's no downside to playing that game as a normal ass shooter. Where in Fear 1, you were punished if you weren't because you wouldn't have armor, you'd have low health, you'd be burning through health packs, you'd be burning through ammo. But when you use slow-mo effectively, you're dominating the battlefield. And yeah, you're going to take the stray hit from that enemy who flanks you, but now you pop out of slow-mo, you get to cover, you re-engage them with slow-mo, and that was just so satisfying. And that never got old the whole time I was playing through. Nothing about that felt bad. The whole time I was playing, I was so happy with that gameplay loop. And then Fear 2 was so bad, I uninstalled it.
Yeah.
I think I got the slow-mo. I was walking around and I was like, I have no desire to continue playing this game. As crazy as this sounds, I think I would rather play Fear 3.
That's pretty damning.
I just think at this point I would just rather play Fear 3. Like it was so bad that I don't want Monolith to make another Fear game. I used to be like one of those people that I was just like, yo, like Monolith needs to come back to Fear, and then playing Fear 2 again, which like mind you, the original Fear was 2004. Fear 2 was like 2009, I believe it was. And I just like, they lost it. They lost the thread.
Yeah.
In 5 years, they lost it. They didn't make Fear 3 because they were making the Shadow of Mordor games. But I'm just like, yo, give Fear to somebody who can make a really good shooter again. Because don't let Monolith do it. I don't think they have it anymore. But that game is just that first Fear it's not perfect, but it is so good at what it does. At the time, it was revolutionary, and the fact that it is kind of old and janky the fact that it still holds up as well as it does and is still kind of best in class in that regard speaks
Mhm.
volumes about like for every way that that game is old and dated and maybe lacking some polish. That AI is just extraordinary, and I would love to play another game like that again. With that like that
Yeah.
game made that slow mo so fun. It's that game is why slow mo was what it was, and that game is also why slow mo stopped being a thing in games because nobody could do it as well as they could. Nobody had
Yeah.
encounters like that. God, I miss it. It's so good. That's why I want to play Extraction Point because I'm like, I just want to play that again, but I just don't want to play that game again. So I might just go back and play
Yeah.
Extraction Point, just to
That's fair.
get my fix, um, but yeah, Fear is freaking exceptional. Oh man, yeah, that was everything I had games wise. I don't know if you had other stuff. Kind of ran away with that.
Uh, not a ton. Again, I've been playing some old stuff. Obviously, Fable, which I mentioned earlier on in the show.
Oh
Um, go ahead.
no, I forgot one more game, but I'll touch on it after.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much more. Probably, I'm surprised I've made it this long, but the pain is starting to creep in the jaw
Fair enough.
talking.
Fair
So,
enough. I get the last thing
so
I'll
go
say.
off.
I played Star Ocean: The Divine Force.
Oh, is that the new one?
That's the new one.
How is it?
It is solidly a B game. Like
Hey, that's better than
when
I
you
thought.
play when you play a like an RPG like that and like you move around really fast and like you have a jump and it feels like boy like this feels like you're supposed to rush through these areas.
Hmm.
That is what that game is. That is a game with like just very forgettable environments, jump on some rocks, open a chest and just move on.
Yeah,
And I this is where I finally realized that like Star Ocean is just a B game now.
yeah, it is. It's.
Um
I'm happy to hear it's even that good. I was expecting
I'm
a C
still
or a D
early.
game.
I don't hate it.
That's fair.
There was an
That's fair.
interesting little thing, at the start. Kind of got, it hooked me a little bit, but that is a B ass B game. Like
Yeah.
Tails went AAA, in Berseria, like that game went full AAA and like took off. You got Xenoblade out there, that's this full respected AAA spectacle, and then you've got Star Ocean, which used to kind of be, up there, and then now it's they're not in the same conversation anymore.
Yeah.
They are
Not too bad.
yeah, I mean, like Jem said in the chat, it's not Fairy Fencer F. Like this Star Ocean feels closer to a Fairy Fencer F than it does. It feels closer to like an Idea Factory RPG
Mm,
than it does a Tales game or a Xenoblade,
hmm.
which is what it is. You fight the monsters in the environment now. The combat is fine. It's AP based, so you get like these like
Mm,
when you
yeah.
sneak attack, you get more AP to do damage. But like you can't attack if you don't have AP for the ability. So like you build your combos and stuff. Uh, the old games just had combos. Like I remember my character in Star Ocean till the end of time, just yelling Blades of Fury all the time because that's what Blade of Fury all the time because that was my move and I just used that shit endlessly. But I felt like I'm still early. Hopefully, there's a lot of upgrades for that stuff because I feel like I need it. Because I go and fight one dude, I can't even kill him in amount of AP, and so I got to run around now, generate AP, and then get back in the fight.
Gotcha.
My AI allies, I don't know if they have AP or not because they're just kind of doing whatever they're doing. They kill a couple things maybe, but like I'm running around doing most of the damage. So you know it, it's fine. I'm gonna play more.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that at least like I don't feel like I'm gonna get like super like engrossed in it, but that also means it shouldn't take me forever and a half to finish it because I'm not gonna
Yeah,
want to
that's
like
fair.
explore every nook and cranny. I'm just gonna be like, all right, at a certain point, I just want to get this done. So let me just
Hmm.
play this game. Yeah, Star Ocean has fallen from the totem pole. The game supports HDR, which is cool. It does not support ultra wide, which is lame.
Ah,
So
That is too
We
bad.
take the good with the bad, I guess.
Yeah.
It's weird. I booted the game up and it asked me if I wanted to play in performance mode or frame rate mode on PC.
Performance or frame rate?
Yeah. Or I'm sorry. No, performance or quality. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say
I am so
that would be an
unaccustomed
interesting
to
option.
those. I am so unaccustomed to those that I don't even remember what they are. Because I don't play a
Sounds
lot
like
of shit on console anymore.
they offered you the same option twice.
But yes, performance or quality. And I'm like, I'm on PC. I capped the,
both.
and then I capped the frame rate at 100, at 60 anyway, because that's the cap. And so I'm like, I turned the graphics up to max. I put it on 60 and it does whatever. So I prioritized quality because I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I just set the frame rate to 60 and it was whatever. I don't know. It's weird. That seems like it's just a straight console port, which, it is what it is. You shall still pick, good sir. What would you like, performance or quality? Oh God. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. I know you're the pain is just too real. If you want to call it here, by all means, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I think it's a good first episode back. I mean, we announced the relaunch of the site formally, which is great. Showed it off a little bit and felt good to kind of get back in the swing of things. And by this time next month, I'm only going to be even better.
There you go. All right. So, ladies and gents, thank you for joining us for another episode of the HalfGen Podcast. Keep an eye out for more stuff from HalfGen. Check out halfgen.com, now the best source of everything we're doing. You can still find us on Twitter at officialhalfgen. And we're working on maybe getting some more stuff on that YouTube. I say that every episode and we don't do it, but like I'm meaning to get around to it.
Yeah,
I'll get there eventually.
Anytime we say we're going to do something, it is with the most genuine of intentions,
and we eventually do it.
It can take a while.
Yeah, it's just the two of us, and we can make it if we try.
Okay. Thank you all for listening and watching.
Bye.
I think that actually caused more trauma than the surgery. Anyway,
bye.